then reinforced all the other doubts about Jeremy Corbyn. Politically, people saw him as fundamentally opposing. Tony Blair exposes Jeremy Corbyn's big mistake. You're not going to believe what just happened in a political moment no one saw coming. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair has stepped back into the spotlight and taken direct aim at Jeremy Corbyn. And we're not talking about a mild, polite critique. We're talking about Blair singling out one big mistake that, in his view, defined Corbyn's leadership and possibly doomed Labour's chances during one of the most crucial political windows in decades. It's rare to see a former leader go after his successor's political era this bluntly. And that's exactly why people are talking. Welcome to Back Britain Unfold, the moment unfolded at a high-profile political forum in London. Blair was there to talk about the future of progressive politics. But when the topic of Corbyn came up, the atmosphere shifted. The audience leaned in, cameras zoomed, you could almost feel the reporters' pens hovering, ready to scribble down the headline. And then Blair said it. Corbyn's biggest mistake, according to him, was failing to seize the political centre ground when it was wide open. Blair explained it like this. Politics isn't just about standing for what you believe. It's also about building a coalition that can win. The tragedy for Labour during Jeremy's time was that we spoke only to ourselves, not to the country as a whole. He didn't name specific policies in that moment, but the implication was clear. Blair believes Corbyn's Labour boxed itself in with rhetoric that resonated strongly with the party's activist base, but alienated a broad swathe of middle ground voters. For Blair, that wasn't just a tactical error, it was the fatal flaw. Here's why this hits so hard. Tony Blair isn't just any Labour figure. He's the last Labour leader to win a general election, and he didn't just win once, he won 3 times in landslides. His new Labour model, socially progressive but economically centrist, dominated British politics in the late 90s and early 2000s. So when he says Corbyn's failure to appeal to the political centre was the big mistake, it's coming from a man whose entire political legacy is built on winning that exact territory. And whether you agree with Blair or not, you can see why his words would cut deep. Let's rewind. Jeremy Corbyn took the Labour leadership in 2015, riding a wave of grassroots enthusiasm. His supporters saw him as an authentic, principled voice, after years of what they viewed as bland, overly cautious leadership. He pushed bold, left-wing policies, from nationalising key industries to expanding public services, and spoke in stark moral terms about inequality and injustice. For a moment, it looked like a new political force had been unleashed. The 2017 election, where Labour gained seats against expectations, gave Corbyn's allies hope that they were on the brink of something historic. But by 2019, that momentum had collapsed. Labour suffered its worst defeat since 1935. And now, years later, Tony Blair is pointing to what he thinks was the core reason for that collapse. Reactions flood in. The reaction was immediate. One political commentator on Twitter wrote, "Blair is rewriting history here. The centre ground wasn't wide open. The country was polarised over Brexit, and no one could bridge that divide." Another posted, "Like him or not, Blair is right. Corbyn never made the case to people outside the activist bubble." Some Labour MPs were quick to downplay the remarks, insisting the party is focused on the future, not rehashing internal disputes, but others admitted privately that Blair's point will resonate with certain voters, especially those who left Labour during Corbyn's leadership and haven't come back. It's worth noting when Blair made these comments. Labour under Keir Starmer is trying to position itself as a credible government in waiting ahead of the next election. And part of that involves reassuring centrist and swing voters that the party has moved on from the Corbyn years. Blair's remarks, whether intentional or not, feed into that narrative, reminding the public of the past and framing the present leadership as a return to electability, a deeper political divide. Here's the thing, Blair and Corbyn represent not just 2 different strategies, but 2 different political philosophies. For Blair, success comes from appealing to the broadest possible coalition, even if it means compromise. For Corbyn, success comes from sticking firmly to principles, even if it risks alienating moderates. This isn't just a disagreement about tactics, it's a disagreement about what politics is for. And when a former Prime Minister openly calls out a predecessor's big mistake, it's more than political gossip. It's a clash over the soul of the Labour Party. So, where does this go from here? Corbyn himself hasn't publicly responded to Blair's remarks, at least not yet, but his supporters are already hitting back online, arguing that Labour lost in 2019 not because of ideology, but because of Brexit chaos, hostile media coverage, and internal party division. Meanwhile, Blair's allies are seizing the moment to push for a full embrace of centrist strategy in the run-up to the election. The real question is, will Starmer quietly agree with Blair's analysis and double down on that approach? Or will he try to balance both wings of the party to avoid alienating Corbyn's base? Tony Blair didn't just criticise a decision, he put a spotlight on one of the most divisive debates in British politics. Is it better to stick to your principles and risk losing, or to compromise for the sake of winning power? There's no easy answer, but one thing's for sure, Blair's comments have reopened old wounds inside Labour, and those wounds won't heal quickly. And the question remains, if this is just the beginning of the conversation, how much deeper will it go before the next election? This was today's important update. We want to make it clear that our videos do not contain any kind of misinformation. Our only goal is to deliver true and verified news from across the UK, right here on Britain Unfold. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the Britain Unfold channel. Thank you.